All right, what's up, guys? All right. So we can do the tier list first if you guys want, or we can just start talking about you know, normal topics. Spider-Man No Way Home, whatever you guys want first. Let's start with the tier list. Okay, we can start with the tier list. Okay, so just gotta make sure we're doing them in order. So do you guys want me to go through what I think, where I think everything should go, or do you guys want to like vote on it together, kind of? All right, I'll just put them where I think, and then we can go from there. You guys can let me know if that's a good spot for them or not. So I would say that obviously the first one is Iron Man, and I'm gonna put Iron Man at B for now. You guys can tell me to move it up or down, or we can just keep it here as a sort of placeholder and then move it up and down later on. Yeah, it doesn't seem like there's too many other people here, so you agree with Iron Man at B? Okay, yeah, so I'll just put them and you tell me if you agree or not. We can move them around later. So the Incredible Hulk is next, and I'm gonna say that that goes in straight in F. Actually, I'm gonna put it in C for now because it's the only Hulk movie we've gotten so far. So we don't really have anything else to compare it to. But it could definitely also go in F. Like, The Incredible Hulk wasn't the best movie. Iron Man 2 also goes in C. There was nothing too memorable about it other than the suitcase armor. Whiplash as the villain wasn't great. And I haven't watched it recently. I know a lot of people like Justin Hammer as the villain. And I know that well, it's rumored that he's coming back in Armor Wars, so if that's true, that'll definitely be cool. But yeah, I think for now, C is where it should go. I think this is the first Avenger. So the first Avenger, I think, is the first movie I'm gonna put in A. Captain America movies have always been good, but compared to the other ones, The Winter Soldier and Civil War, I think it's the weakest one. Guys, we skipped Thor. Okay, Thor, also in C. Yeah, I have nostalgia for it, but I don't think it's a great film by any stretch. Yeah, and maybe it's not true for every movie in Phase 1, but I feel like Phase 1 movies were the weakest, right? If you compare it to like Phase 2 and Phase 3, especially Phase 3, like Phase 3 just had consistent bangers. Civil War, Doctor Strange, Guardians of the Galaxy 2, Spider-Man Homecoming, Thor Ragnarok, Black Panther, Infinity War, Ant-Man. Well, Ant-Man was Endgame and Spider-Man Far From Home. Those were awesome. Really good. I love the first Avenger. I really enjoy the Steve origin. Yeah, and I think they did it justice. It's just maybe since it came out like what, 2009, 2010. 2011. You know, it's lacking compared to the other movies. Should Thor be in B or in C though? I feel like it could go either way. Thor 1 can go either way. Thor: The Dark World is definitely an F. B, Thor and B. I personally like Thor 1. Okay. Yeah, I agree. It can go either way, but I feel like it's more of a B. Especially if you consider that Natalie Portman's in it. You know, that could actually make it even an A. If you want to be technical. But B for now is good. Next movie is The Avengers. God, it's so hard to see. Avengers. I think The Avengers goes in A. Right, it was a memorable movie the first time that the 6 original Avengers came together, take on Loki, one of the greatest villains in the MCU. We got the Thanos Easter egg at the end, so that was great. Okay, yeah, so I think Avengers is A for now. Maybe we can move it up to S later. I think A is a good place for it. It's so iconic. Yeah. I'm probably wrong, but is it like the first like big superhero team up movie? Justice League came out afterwards, right? After the Avengers. Next is Iron Man 3. Okay, Iron Man 3 goes I think it also goes in B. Iron Man is my favorite character, but I'm very harsh when it comes to the movies. I don't think any of the 3 Iron Man movies were the greatest. Iron Man 1 started the MCU, had, you know, Tony in the cave, built the suit out of scraps with the car battery attached to his chest. But other than that, it wasn't like that great, right? The villain, Stane, Obadiah Stane, he wasn't that memorable. And Iron Man 3, the best part about it really was Trevor Slattery, the fake Mandarin, and the final fight with like all the Iron Man armors where he destroys them all. But other than that, it was just an okay movie. Iron Man 3B, yeah. Next movie is Thor: The Dark World. That's our first F. I don't think anybody will complain about that one. Like Malekith and the Dark Elves and the other guy, whatever his name was, the big like rock demon thing. They could have been so much better like villains, but they were so, I don't know, I feel like everything that they tried to do for Thor: The Dark World just didn't work out, and it made it just such a bad movie. All the Iron Man movies suck. Well, I wouldn't say they suck, but yeah, they're not the best, especially when compared to everything else. Put it in C? There's no way that Thor: The Dark World is in C. Below F? No, I'm saving below F for a special movie. You guys will see. Alright, and then Captain America: The Winter Soldier is the first S tier, if I can find it. Yeah, like I said, the Captain America movies were always, I feel like, the strongest when it came to Iron Man, Captain America, Thor. And especially like the Winter Soldier, it was more grounded. It was like really like dark and gritty, at least for a PG-13 movie, right? As far as Disney could push it at the time. I say it's just the villains make it bad. Yeah, but I mean, like, the villains are just as just as much of an important part in the movie as the heroes, right? And as the actual story itself. What's up, Nate? I'm glad you could make it. Yeah, so now we're just ranking the, you know, everything in the MCU so far. So if you guys have any suggestions that move anything up and down, just let me know. After Winter Soldier was Guardians of the Galaxy. And I think the first one, what do you guys think? First one in A or S? Winter Soldier's an S for me? Yeah, I agree. A or S? A? Guardians is S for sure. Yeah, I mean, you got like Rock and Groot and all the Guardians. To be fair, anything before Star-Lord hits Thanos is an S. Yeah, we have Groot sacrificing his life for the Guardians and being reborn as baby Groot. And just the whole team as a whole like works together so well. And Star-Lord and Gamora, they have the Nebula. Drax is always great. Let it go? No, I will not let it go. We talked about this last night. I will not let it go. If Star-Lord hadn't punched Thanos, they would have taken the gauntlet off his hand, and Iron Man would have still been alive. So no, I won't let it go. And alright, the next movie is Age of Ultron. Now we can put it in, we can leave it where I'm gonna put it, or we can actually rank it. But Age of Ultron is below F. Okay? There's one reason why. Ultron was a good villain. Vision was great, right? First appearance. The reason why Age of Ultron is below F is because of Quicksilver's death. There's no way that a speedster should have died to a couple bullets. So I think that is why Age of Ultron goes in F, below F. Otherwise, I'd give it like a B. And the next movie is Ant-Man. Quicksilver shouldn't have died. Yeah, that was dumb. And like, there's no way that all the way back in Age of Ultron, they were already thinking of having Evan Peters return in WandaVision, for the Ralph Boner joke. So I feel like it was just bad writing. I see what you mean, but still, Age of Ultron deserves less hate. Don't do it like that. All right. So Age of Ultron, B or C? I feel like overall it could probably go in B. And then Ant-Man. Ant-Man's hard, right? Because the Ant-Man movies, they're not bad, but they're not the great. They're not the best, right? Like Ant-Man's fine. Paul Rudd's great. What's his name? Miguel Pena or Michael Pena? Luis. He's really good in that movie, right? He's obviously the most funny part of the movie. The comic relief. So I could put Ant-Man in A or in B. But I think it depends on what you guys want to put and where you guys want to put Ant-Man and the Wasp. 'Cause right now I would put Ant-Man in B and Ant-Man and the Wasp in C. I feel like Ant-Man and the Wasp, it wasn't a bad movie, it just wasn't great. Like, Ghost wasn't my favorite villain. No, the Ralph Boner joke transcends time. Age of Ultron is B. Yeah, I'm not putting it in B. They were playing the Boner joke since Iron Man. I doubt that. B, Ant-Man and the Wasp is C. Ant-Man. Yeah. Alright, so yeah, so either it could go either way. Ant-Man in A, Ant-Man and the Wasp in B, or Ant-Man in B and Ant-Man and the Wasp in C. We'll leave it here for now and we can move it up later, if you guys want. Now we're already in phase 3. So the first phase 3 movie was Civil War. I don't think anyone has any objections of me putting it in S. The Avengers fighting each other over the Sokovia Accords. Black Panther, Spider-Man's first appearance. The fight and the choreography in Civil War was just good. Just everything about this movie is good. The story behind how Iron Man's parents died, right? Steve and Bucky's connection, obviously him coming back. King T'Chaka dying, right? And then the blame being put on Bucky by Zemo. Zemo being one of the best villains in the MCU. Right, then the final fight where it's Steve and Bucky versus Iron Man. He's holding his own, and then Iron Man says, "You don't deserve the shield," blah blah blah. When finally, in the end, Captain America leaves and becomes the Nomad or whatever. Civil War, S. Also, I believe we're getting Civil War 2 when the Fantastic Four and X-Men join the MCU. That would be awesome. A Civil War 2, just like the comics, would be amazing. The only problem is it would probably be Captain Marvel versus someone else. Because, right, there's obviously no Captain America, so it'd probably be Captain Marvel for the Avengers / Fantastic Four. And then you'd have, like, whatever mutant is leading the X-Men at the time, whether it be Wolverine or someone else. So you guys have to remember that. Because as much as we don't like her, Captain Marvel's not going anywhere. The next movie, Doctor Strange. Alright, so Doctor Strange for me is an A for one reason, right? If it wasn't for this, it would be an S. And as you guys may have guessed, it's Dormammu. And then it's really easy to root X-Men. Yeah. So, the reason why I'm putting Doctor Strange in A instead of S is because of Dormammu. The overall story with Doctor Strange, like his origin story, it's just good. But I hate when Marvel does this. Galactus Cloud, Dormammu Blob. Like, just give us this Dormammu. Give us something like this. Right? And like, sure, it was zoomed in, but like, you can't zoom out for a little bit, show his entire body, show how big and menacing he actually is. And like the whole Dormammu I've come to bargain scene, like that was funny and that was good. But like, you never really fear him, right? You never feel tension or scared for Doctor Strange in this moment. Doctor Strange is A, I agree. The visual effects were so good. The story was great. Yeah, so I'll leave Doctor Strange in A. And the next one is Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2, which, none of you will change my mind. It goes in Taserface. Guardians of the Galaxy 2 could have been the worst movie in the MCU, and it goes in S. I don't care what anyone says. Dormammu I've come to bargain is one of the best scenes in the MCU. Yeah, I agree, but it just, there's no tension, right? You don't feel scared for Doctor Strange. You just know that he's gonna defeat Dormammu. And like, I understand that Caecilius was the villain in that movie, but like, Dormammu didn't feel like a threat, right? Dormammu kind of felt like the Taskmaster of Doctor Strange. Like, it just appeared and was like, oh, cool, fan service. Guardians 2 is just as good as Guardians 1. Yeah, but it goes in Taserface because of Taserface. There's no character in the MCU better than him. We're full body Dormammu in the MCU. Just wait. Yeah. I feel like full body Dormammu could have been like one of the best setups in the MCU. Right? Like, you give me full body Dormammu, make them this ginormous threatening villain, right? Like I hope they do with Galactus when he appears. And then even if you do the Dormammu I've come to bargain scene and that's it, if in Doctor Strange 2 or 3 or in whatever other movie you bring Dormammu back, right? Like, fans are already excited to see him because they've seen what he can do. They've seen how big he is, how like threatening he is. So I feel like they really dropped the ball with that, and I hope they don't do the same with Shuma Gorath. Right? Shuma Gorath is another villain that deserves to be like big and threatening. And hopefully they're gonna do like do better with Shumagorath, because we saw that he was in the trailer for What If. And like we can see the big tentacles and stuff, so I love Guardians 2 so much. The Yondu rocket character development makes the movie so good, and Taserface of course makes it better. Yeah, exactly. And like Yondu and Quill's connection, like him like right being his what was the line he said, something about he might be your dad but he's not your he might be your father but he's not your daddy or whatever. And then he sacrifices himself obviously, and he has the most broken weapon in the MCU, right, other than the Infinity Gauntlet. It's just like little whistle arrow that goes wherever he wants. Yeah, so Guardians 2 definitely goes in S tier. And next is Spider-Man Homecoming. I'm gonna put Homecoming in A. We can move it up to S. I liked Homecoming, but I feel like Far From Home was just better. And I don't really know why. I like how they didn't do the same he gets bit by a spider story, right, with of course I would have liked to see Uncle Ben, right? With great power comes great responsibility is probably one of the best lines in all of Marvel. But I'm kind of glad that they took a fresh take, right? They wouldn't they didn't redo the like his origin story, get bit by a spider. We don't need to see it again, right? We've already seen it enough times. Just like with the Fantastic Four, when they're introduced into the MCU, we don't need to see their origin story again because we've seen it 2 different times. Homecoming A. A is a solid placement for Homecoming. Yeah, all right. So sounds good. Next is Thor Ragnarok. Compared to all the other Thor movies, Ragnarok goes in S. Right, Thor and Thor: The Dark World, where you put it in F, is not even close. And I know that a lot of people have complained about Thor Ragnarok being like too comedic, not serious enough. But they did the serious Thor in the first 2 movies, right? And it didn't work. And then they switched it up. They included folk. They had Thor. They made a bunch of jokes, and it was just overall better. It had Korg and Meek, exactly. With great power comes great responsibility is one of the best lines in all of everything. Let's be honest, exactly. It's up there with Excelsior. Thor Ragnarok S, yeah. Ragnarok is Taserface for me. Really? I could see it in S, but I don't know if anything else goes in Taserface. Like, I don't know. I feel like this is just more of a joke. But yeah, I mean, I could definitely see it. I could definitely see anyone liking any movie more than the rest, right? Like, even if it is The Incredible Hulk or Thor: The Dark World. Although those are like way more unlikely. Next is Black Panther, and I'm gonna give Black Panther an A for one reason. I feel like they dropped the ball at the end. Right, Black Panther was so good. It opened up this new world, right, of Wakanda. It introduced Killmonger, which is one of my favorite villains in the MCU. And it had like the power dynamic. It had the fight with M'Baku to see who would be king. Right, and everything about it was so good until the 3rd act. And then the CGI team that was working on Black Panther moved over to Avengers Infinity War, and they just dropped the ball in the final fight. The fight with Black Panther and Killmonger and like the underground tunnel with the magnet trains, that just looked really bad. And because of that, because of everything that they did going up, right, it was just going up. Such a good movie. And then like at the very end, it just goes straight down. So yeah, I'm gonna put Black Panther in A because of that. Yeah, you're not allowed to say it, but the end dropped the ball big. Yeah. And I mean, I feel like now it's been enough time, right? It's been what, like 4 years, 5 years now at this point. Black Panther came out on February 16th, 2018. It's 2022. So I don't feel like people are so right, like Black Panther wasn't a bad movie. It was a good movie. But I feel like people overhyped it because it was the first black superhero, right? And it had Black Panther being introduced into the MCU after we saw him in Civil War. He finally got his own solo movie. And I feel like people were overhyping it at that point. but like I said again, it's not a bad movie. It just they dropped the ball at the end with the CGI. Also, you forgot Claw. Yeah, Claw was a good. He was a good like mini villain, right? Like all the movies have like the mini villain and the big villain. So he was a good character. It'd be great to see him back again, but he's directing. Andy Serkis is directing the Venom Let There Be Carnage. But also I think that Andy Serkis is returning for to voice Claw in What If, so we're gonna see a little bit more of him in that show. When do you think we'll see Hyperion in the MCU? Honestly, I couldn't tell you, but now that they opened up the multiverse, we can see like literally any character, right? Because if I remember correctly, Hyperion is originally from a different universe, right? He's like one of the last Eternals on his world, and then they like come over to Earth, and then during Secret Wars they have like the whole incursion thing, and he shows how strong he is by holding 2 planets apart with his bare hands. And he's so strong that the reason why he can't hold them is because of the actual planets collapse under their gravitational pull, not because, you know, his arms give out or anything. So yeah, it would definitely be cool to see Hyperion and the Squadron Supreme in the MCU, as well as the Sentry, and see them fight. Right? Squadron Supreme versus the Dark Avengers with Norman Osborn, Sentry, Dakin, Bullseye. That would be great. But I don't know if we'll get it anytime soon. The Squadron Supreme was rumored to appear in Loki. Obviously they didn't, but maybe for season 2, now that the multiverse is open, or maybe it could be one that Doctor Strange travels to in Multiverse of Madness. Maybe he takes a quick peek. I love Andy Serkis. Yeah. And it's great that all these actors are returning. Like obviously not all of them are, but most of them, and that's cool. And also like I'm really excited for Venom Let There Be Carnage. Hopefully it'll be better than the first, although the first one wasn't bad at all. Even the Fantastic Four, yeah, exactly. Hope he's introduced before Secret Wars. Yeah. Like he plays such a big role in Secret Wars, like it'd be dumb not to include him. Right? And there's like so many other characters that need to be introduced before Secret Wars. We still don't have the Fantastic Four, we don't have the X-Men, we don't have the Inhumans. And like at this point we really don't even have the Avengers. Venom Let There Be Carnage will be so fun. Yeah, I don't know what they're waiting for the trailer though. Like it's already July 17th. They've had the second trailer finished. And I covered like what 2-3 weeks ago already that they finished the third trailer. So they're just sitting on 2 trailers. I honestly don't know what they're waiting for. Multiverse Fantastic Four, that would be hilarious. Yeah. And I like how, like, you guys remember how we were all like, oh, WandaVision connects to Spider-Man No Way Home, and it connects to Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness, and that's what's gonna open the multiverse. And like it turns out we were all wrong, right? It turns out that it was Loki who opened the multiverse, and WandaVision and Spider-Man No Way Home literally had nothing to do with it. They just basically get affected by it. Inhumans in Phase 5 is my guess. Yeah, we're gonna get Miss Marvel. Right, the other day I talked about how I don't really believe this because that hashtag show isn't the most credible source, but they said that the reason why they were changing Kamala's origin story slightly was because Kevin Feige and Ike Perlmutter had like disagreements, and so he wanted to change her story. Honestly, I don't buy that because it sounded like they were gonna make her not be an Inhuman, but that it doesn't make sense. And if you think about it, if they start making like changing characters now, like I mean it's bad news for the MCU in the future if they can just change whoever they want, right? And like that's one of the problems that I have with them taking parts of characters and combining them, like Sylvie, and He Who Remains kind of being like He Who Remains being a Kang variant, but also at the same time in Loki he was kind of like the what's his name, God, what's his name, the other version of Kang. There's Jesus Christ. You guys know what I'm talking about, right? Anyways, if they start changing like Kamala now, they like remove her embiggening powers and give her the purple Green Lantern powers or whatever she's supposed to have because of the bracelet. that's bad news for the Inhumans. Not only the Inhumans in the future when they're introduced, but also for like the X-Men and the Fantastic Four, and like all future characters. But yeah, Inhumans in Phase 5 is probably my guess as well, if you're talking about like the Inhuman royal family. I just want to see a Spider-Man movie where he's trying to catch Carnage. Yeah, that would be great. And like, I highly doubt that Carnage will be defeated in Venom 2. So maybe like, you know, some crossover in the near future, we'll have like Spider-Man team up with Venom to defeat Carnage. All right, WandaVision was supposed to be important, wasn't it? Yeah, with the like, they kind of tricked us with the whole Darkhold scene at the end. But that had nothing to do with the multiverse. It just turns out that it's gonna be like, I assume that will be like the opening scene for Multiverse of Madness, right? Like Doctor Strange will go see Wanda and be like, you know, you're messing stuff up. I need the Darkhold. Immortus, yeah, Immortus. Thank you. That's his name. Yeah. Yeah. In the MCU, they made He Who Remains, which is his own character. They've made him be a variant of Kang, but at the same time, he also had like the cape, and he had like parts of Immortus as well. Okay, I gotta go now. See ya. Thanks for coming. Yeah, I know I've been talking too much, not really doing the tier list. But have a good night. They'll do plenty of gender changing, I'm sure. Yeah, like, I really hope they don't do that, right? Like, this is like I've talked about it before. There's no reason why they had to make Antonia Taskmaster, right? If they want to include Antonia in Black Widow and make her story be important to the MCU and to her overall story, don't change her to be Taskmaster, right? Like, make her a brand new, important, and cool character in the MCU that we'll like to see more of, right? Because now everyone says Taskmaster sucks. We want to see Tony Masters, and so that character, like, if she returns, fans will be upset. And if they bring in Tony Masters, then it's kind of like that character was wasted in the first movie. And like, for example, like, I don't have any problem with you making gay or lesbian or transgender characters, but the problem most fans have is when you take an already existing character and you switch them, right? You gender swap them, you race swap them, you like swap their sexual orientation. Just make brand new characters that fit into the story, that are important, that are cool, that fans want to see. Like, right? Like, there's no reason to make I don't know, off the top of my head, Iron Man be gay in the future, right? Unless it's like a version from an alternate Earth where that has already been established, or you know, it's like a different version, right? If you bring back Robert Downey Jr.'s Tony Stark and you make him gay from now on, that doesn't really make sense, right? You're just doing it to do it. Anyways, let's stop talking and move on. The next movie after Black Panther is Infinity War. This one. Infinity War S, right? What if when Tony Masters is introduced, it makes her character better? I mean, it could, but I don't see how. Right, because at this point she's just like a rip-off Tony Masters, right? Like, one, she doesn't even have the photo reflexes. She just like puts a chip in the back of her head that allows her to fight like any other character. Two, in the movie, she didn't talk, and she was like a useless, mindless android. She just appeared, and then Black Widow escaped. Like, you were never scared or threatened by the character when they appeared. Like, the few missions that she appeared in, she just got like, she didn't complete her mission, right? She was sent to get the vials. She didn't get the vials. She threw Black Widow off the bridge, and Black Widow already had the vials. And then, you know, that's it. We don't see her anymore. I agree with you. Yeah, that's my exact point. They trash all the original characters so they'll be more diverse, and then everyone likes those characters less and likes diversity in movies less because of it. Exactly. And like, that's not the problem that we as fans have, right? It's not that we don't want these characters, like gay characters or whatever, right? It's not like we didn't want the race issue to be talked about in The Falcon and the Winter Soldier. However, the way that they went about talking about the race issue, it didn't make sense, right? They just shoving it down our throats when we see that every single day, and that's not what we want to see when we watch Marvel shows, right? Like, had they just stuck with with Carl Lumbly's story as Isaiah Bradley, of him being a war veteran, right? The army does tests on him. He becomes Captain America, he sacrifices his life for his country, and then eventually they put him in jail for 30 years and do experiments on him. Like, that was a story that they should have gone with. The rest of it, like, especially when they were in the neighborhood, Sam and Bucky were in the neighborhood, and the cops came and stopped them because they were arguing, and then he's like, oh, like, I don't know who you are, and then he's like, oh my god, I'm so sorry, Falcon. Like, that was probably one of the stupidest scenes in the entire show. And like, again, they can do these things, they just have to do them better, right? Like, they just kind of like shove them in for no reason, just to do it. And I guess that's what upsets people the most. There's no way that anyone will like female Taskmaster ever. They might like Tony Masters if they do him well. Yeah. And it is, again, it's like, I'm not trying to say that the actress was bad, right? She didn't even talk in the movie. But Taskmaster isn't female. Taskmaster isn't Antonia. Taskmaster in the comics for years has been Tony Masters, right? And like, I don't understand why they keep trying to switch characters. Like, it doesn't make sense. Again, like I talked about it before, if you want to include Antonia, make her a cool character, right? Like, bring her back in a way that affects Natasha's story, right? Like, Natasha in the MCU is not a perfect character. She has her sins, she has her flaws, but give her more, right? Make Dreykov, who again was one of the worst villains in the MCU with probably one of the worst ways of defending himself, make him hire the real Tony Masters to kill Natasha, to go after the widows that escaped, right? To go after Yelena, to go after Melina. And then make it where when Taskmaster appears, make us be threatened by him. Make us be scared of what's gonna happen to Natasha, right? So yeah. I don't like when they make characters gay. I mean, I don't have a problem with it. I just don't like when they take existing characters that don't need to be that, and they change them just because, right? I have no problem with actual diversity if they make new unique characters, but no, we'll just race gender swap existing characters. Exactly. And like, even just think about Loki, right? In Loki, we had a female Loki. We had a black Loki. We had boastful Loki. We had an old, a young, and an alligator Loki. Like, they literally race swap, age swap, gender swap the character, and it made sense in that scenario, right? Alternate versions of Loki are different. One's a girl. One survived Thanos. One is young. He killed Thor. One is black. Maybe one's Hispanic. Maybe one is an alligator. Or, you know, like ways like that is what makes sense. And now the multiverse has opened up more, hopefully they'll take advantage of it and, you know, not make like Wolverine a female or something. Or, you know, make like the Fantastic Four, I don't know, like gay or something, or have incest. Like, you know, at this point I wouldn't be surprised if they did it. All right, anyways, back to this Infinity War S. And then next we're just gonna knock the next two out. Ant-Man and the Wasp is next. We'll leave it at C. And Captain Marvel, B or C. I feel like Captain Marvel could go in B, right? Like, we all give it a lot of hate, but I don't know. I just feel like Captain Marvel as a character is broken. She's overpowered. Right? Maybe the Nick Fury thing, getting his eye eaten by the cat or whatever, wasn't the greatest, but it was kind of funny, right? And so I don't know. I feel like Captain Marvel, honestly, I don't know. Like, I watched Captain Marvel once. I've never gone back and watched it, so I can't say if it's, you know, better than the first time, or if it's gotten worse, or if you have a problem with gender swap characters, then you should have a problem with them being gay, because it's still changing their character from the comics. Yeah, exactly. And okay, what I'm trying to say is that I don't have a problem with them swapping anything. Okay, how do I explain this? I have a problem with them swapping characters from the comics, right? Taskmaster becoming a girl. Right? Like that. Those are the problems that I have. However, if you give me a multiverse version, for example, if you give me a multiverse version of Captain Marvel that's a man, I would not be upset. Right? Like if you give me an adult version of Wiccan, in the MCU and he dates Hulkling, I would not be upset because that's how it is in the comics, right? That's what I'm trying to say when I say I don't have a problem with them being gay or anything. Hulkling and Wiccan in the comics are married. I don't have any problem with that. But if you took like Speed, for example, his brother, and you made him gay, then that would be pretty upsetting. John David Washington as Mr. Fantastic or a Mobius variant as him. And then a variant of Renslayer as the Invisible Woman, because Kang is African American and he is a relative of Reed and Sue. I mean, to be fair, like, I don't think there's anything wrong with them casting Jonathan Majors as Kang. Right, because obviously he's from a different Earth. And he's also from the future. Right, and all the multiverse stuff. However, like, Mr. Fantastic has to be played by John Krasinski. That's it. That's all I'm gonna say. I figured you were saying Captain Marvel for Under Dark World. That's where I put it. No, I'm not gonna put it below F. Maybe C, but no. By the way, Jonathan Majors as Kang was amazing. Yeah, Jonathan Majors' acting in the show was really, really good. And even though episode 6 was just like a huge exposition dump, I feel like it was necessary in that regard. Plus, Jonathan Majors just made it interesting. The Eternals is completely gender swapped. I don't know what was the purpose of that. Yeah, I don't understand that either. Like, making Makari a girl, like, honestly, at this point, we can't really change it. Movie's been done, so I don't have the biggest problem with it. But yeah, I don't feel like it's necessary, right? Like, there's other female speedsters that you could introduce. Captain America 2 is a masterpiece, yeah. Winter Soldier and Civil War go in S. I rewatched it once, it got worse. That child actor for Monica was awful. Captain Marvel was the worst character in the MCU. When they did what they did to Nick Fury's eye, you never feel like the villain. You never feel like the villain is a threat. Alright, I put in C. I put in C. Is that better? Do you think Reed Richards will be black? I don't know. I don't think so. I feel like they got enough hate with the 2015 Fantastic Four, where they cast Michael B. Jordan as the Human Torch, and seeing as how the Fantastic Four movies literally just got worse and worse and worse as the years went on, they need to make a really good Fantastic Four movie in the future. So no, I hope that they'll just stick to the original comics. John Krasinski as Mr. Fantastic, Emily Blunt as the Invisible Woman, unless she doesn't want to, then get whoever else. Zac Efron as the Human Torch would be good, and like. So, but yeah, I've heard the John David Washington playing Mr. Fantastic, and honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if they do it, if they make Professor X black as well, or they cast Giancarlo Esposito as Magneto. Like, I don't know. I don't feel like I would be that upset with those. But yeah, I would prefer the Fantastic Four to be, you know, how they are in the comics, the first family. For Johnny and Sue Storm to be actual, like, brother and sister, right? I want John Krasinski and Emily Blunt. Yeah, I think everyone does. Vin Diesel as a thing. I mean, I could see that, but I feel like he's too small. Like, maybe the Rock is the thing, like a CGI thing. But then also, like, the Rock's been in every single movie, so I don't know. I've seen some like some fan art and fan castings of Vin Diesel as Black Bolt, and I think that could work for him pretty well. If you do Vin Diesel as Black Bolt. Because, like, he did the voice of adult Groot, and then as Black Bolt, he doesn't have to talk, right? Because Black Bolt's power is, like, his sonic scream. So he doesn't have to do his voice. He just does, like, just plays a character, right? They need to stop race swapping characters, especially the super iconic characters. Everyone knows that they're all white. Yeah, unfortunately. And, like, people can't get upset about that, right? Because the comics, it's just, like, a time thing, right? Just like how everything now, like, right, like, jokes that we made 5 years ago won't fly today. Same thing with comics that were made, you know, years ago. Most of the characters were white, but there were some great black characters, right? Isaiah Bradley, Blue Marvel. There's a ton of them. Black Panther. So I feel like they should stop race swapping and gender swapping characters and just introduce characters that are already that way, right? For example, another problem that I have is the actor that got cast as Namor. Right? Like, I don't have a problem with the actor himself, but Namor is Asian, right? Because he lives so deep in the ocean, he doesn't get sunlight. Atlantis sunk to the bottom of the ocean. There's no sunlight. So I feel like he should have been an Asian character. And they want like the Asian diversity, right? With Shang-Chi, the whole cast, the crew, everything is Asian. I don't understand why they went with a Mexican actor. Although again, I don't have any problem with him. What's up, Tim? Everything's going great. We're trying to rank these movies and shows, but I keep getting distracted. I like the original Fantastic Four movie Thing. I love them to bring the original actor back for the Thing's voice. Yeah, I feel like that's one thing that they did great with the original Fantastic Four, right? Like the CGI on the Thing was great. He looked like the Thing, right? And that, I hope that's what they start doing more in the MCU. Like, just give us the comic accurate characters. But yeah, I guess we'll have to wait and see for the Fantastic Four. And it's not that far away, right? It's coming in 2023. We're already almost in August of this year. All right, let's move on to the next thing. The next movie after Captain Marvel is Ant-Man and the Wasp. No, Ant-Man and the Wasp, then Captain Marvel, then Endgame. Yeah, and I think Endgame just goes in S as well. Oh yeah, let's rank now. I like to talk too much. Yeah, it's fine. I like to talk too. As far as I remember, that wasn't CGI. I think it was all makeup. Are you serious? Man, practical effects are crazy, right? And I'm actually glad, like, that's one of the things that I'm glad about bringing Sam Raimi back for Doctor Strange 2. Because he's like one of those old directors, right? He's gonna use the practical effects, and he's gonna like make the best out of them. So yeah. And I agree that in some movies, right, the CGI is used way more than practical effects. Like, for example, they probably could have made some of that Black Panther train fight scene in the third act be practical effects, and then they had less work for the actual CGI team. Man, I wonder how long it took. Drax's makeup takes like 8 to 12 hours, right? I think. Something like that, something crazy like that. So if they did the makeup for him too, it probably took the same amount of time, if not more. I was thinking, if you left the TVA with the jump pad thing and all the Infinity Stones, you would be all powerful. I'm guessing they work once again once they leave the TVA, and you stand a good chance against Kang. Maybe. It depends on if the stones work outside of their universe, right? For example, there's theories that the TVA exists in the Quantum Realm City, but whether it exists there or the null time zone, like in the comics, that's why they didn't work, right? But another reason why they might not work is because they're not in their original universe, right? If you take the stones out of the MCU universe and take them to another universe, the 1610 universe, or the comic 616 universe, for example, they might not work. So it depends on that. Like, it depends on how they play that. But also with them all just being like thrown around in drawers and stuff, I'm sure it'd be pretty hard to know where each stone came from, for if they ever wanted to take them back, for example. Next, I'm glad Sam Raimi's joining Doctor Strange too. Yeah, and I hope that it actually is like an actual horror movie, like they're playing it off to be. Because if not, it's gonna be pretty disappointing, since they've been saying it's gonna be a horror movie for like almost a year now. Endgame S, if it exists, it's not as good as Infinity War, but it's still an S. Yeah, I agree. Although I did like the whole Tony and Morgan scenes. Yeah, I love you 3000, obviously. Next, fair enough, was just a thought, was bugging me. Yeah, no, when it comes to Loki, I finished the video today. It's gonna come out, it's gonna come out soon. but it's talking about everything that I didn't understand about Loki. And once you start thinking about it, there is so much that you don't understand about Loki. Like, so much of it doesn't make sense when you think about it. But yeah. Speaking of 616, have you read Heroes Reborn? No, I think if I remember correctly, you asked me that before. But I just don't read comics that often. All right, back to this. Spider-Man Far From Home is next. Some of you guys are already saying A. I'm gonna put it. Oh man, yeah, I don't know. I feel like it could go on S. Because Mysterio was a really good character, and the CGI in the movie, like the whole scene, where they're in the Mysterio illusion, was probably one of my favorite scenes in all of the movies. And the portal scene was probably the best in the MCU. So many feels right there. Yeah. For Endgame, exactly at the end, especially when Falcon does the on your left to Captain America, just brought everything back full circle. Yeah. So I feel like Endgame definitely goes in S, even if it's like slightly lower than Endgame, Infinity War. And Spider-Man Far From Home, I would say it goes in S, because of just Mysterio alone. S. A. Endgame is S. All right. So, what do you guys think about Far From Home? S or A? S. Okay. All right. Now the Disney Plus shows, or should we go to Black Widow? All right. S. Black Widow. Still haven't seen Black Widow. When are you gonna watch it though? Because it's been like over a week at this point. And yeah, I'm not really trying to hold back on the spoilers because it's been a while. It's also on Disney Plus. But yeah, all right. Black Widow. I honestly want to give it a C. Okay. I want to give Black Widow a C because of Taskmaster and Dreykov. That's 3 things, but I only named 2. Taskmaster and Dreykov. One of the main complaints I had about the movie was it's 2 hours and 14 minutes long. And the reason why is because there's a lot of like panning and zooming in and like just like shots that aren't necessary. There's also a lot of talking. The talking I'm not as upset with because it makes sense for the story, right? They're explaining Yelena and Alexei, Red Guardian, Melina, Iron Maiden, all their stories, how they connect, right? How they were a family, how they connect to the Red Room and Dreykov in general. They finally explained what happened in Budapest, right? And then the entire family, right? Like Black Widow, Yelena, Red Guardian, Melina, all of them, they connect, right? It's like if Dom saw this, he would be so proud, right? But then you have Taskmaster, who again doesn't feel like a villain. They just feel like an annoyance when they appear. And then you have Dreykov, which Dreykov's power, right? Power. The way that he controls the Black Widows is through a he kind of like brainwashes them and forces them to do what he wants. And then he has a pheromone that he wears, kind of like a cologne, which if any of the Black Widows, if any of the widows smell him, they can't do any, like, they can't harm him. But the way to get around it is just to break your nose. Like, if you break your nose, you can no longer smell it, and you can just do whatever you want. And so I feel like that was so dumb. And then again, like Taskmaster, Dreykov, all that. So honestly, I feel like it goes in C or very, very low B. Besides Taskmaster, the movie is great. Whack Widow. That's funny. I really like Black Widow, but it seems to be getting a lot of hate from hardcore comic fans for the way the characters were changed. But the films don't have to follow the comics 100%. And I agree with that, right? The films obviously don't have to follow the comics. From the beginning, the MCU has taken little bits of, you know, comics here, comics there. Like, you'll never see Spider-Man Far From Home isn't taken directly from the comics, right? It takes some parts from different Spider-Man comics. It takes some parts from everything, and then combines it with what we already have in the MCU. But the reason why most fans are upset is just because of the overall Taskmaster change, right? Like, they made Taskmaster this really bad villain, when in the comics, he's much better. So yeah. Haven't seen Black Widow, but I've heard it was good except for Taskmaster. Yeah, most of it, like, when it's the family, right? When it's the family, it's great. Breaking Alexei out of the prison was great. I feel like mostly every, like, just really, like, the ending part didn't make too much sense. It wasn't that great. So the multiverse war that He Who Remains is talking about is Secret Wars. Yeah, probably. And it'd be really interesting if the multiversal war that took place before the Timekeepers fixed, right? Like, the multiversal war between all of the Kangs, where He Who Remains was the only one who remained, and he created the TVA, right, for the Secret Timeline. It'd be really interesting if they made that be like the 1984 version of Secret Wars, but slightly changed. And then, like, now would be like the 2015 version of Secret Wars with, like, the Incursions, the Illuminati, all that stuff. God Emperor Doom and Battle World. I think that would be pretty cool. That's lame. Yeah, low B actually. Yeah, I'd say Black Widow very low B or C. They might have plans down the road for Taskmaster. I do agree he was underused. I appreciate that he's so different in the comics, etc. Yeah, and the actress apparently wants to return, but, you know, at this point it's unknown with all the backlash that they've gotten, if she'll ever return. And again, it is nothing against the actress herself, just the writing. If they followed the comics exactly, we wouldn't have gotten Trevor Slattery, so I'm glad they don't follow them exactly. That being said, they've got to follow them somewhat. Yeah, I feel like some creative liberties work out, but not most of them. So I hear the Kangs betray each other and kill each other in some cases. I'm not in some cases, in all cases. When Kangs meet each other, apparently they eventually just try to kill each other. At least that's what He Who Remains said, right? And obviously that could have been a lie, right? Maybe he was keeping the multiverse, like, closed off for his own personal gains. But at least the story that he wove in the MCU was that they found each other, they started helping each other, bringing in technology from each of their Earths. But eventually, they just got they became greedy and they wanted more power and they started killing each other. And he was the only one who remained. Nathan, I thought Trevor Slattery was hilarious. Yeah, Trevor was one of the best characters. Definitely the best part of Iron Man 3. And it would be so amazing to see him return in Shang-Chi. Even if it's just for a small little scene. I put him at Taserface. Yeah, I unfortunately can't add new things, but yeah, Taserface and Slattery would be right here. All right, now for the Disney Plus shows. I would say WandaVision. Okay, WandaVision A. Although it could also go on below F because we didn't get literally any characters. We didn't get Mephisto, Blue Marvel, the Grim Reaper, Wonder Man, the Fantastic Four, right? We got nothing in that show. We didn't even see Senor Scratchy turn into a demon and fight the kids and Monica like he was supposed to. But yeah, I'd say WandaVision A. The Falcon and the Winter Soldier goes B. Because it definitely wasn't as bad as any of these movies. Right? The Falcon and the Winter Soldier overall, Zemo, the US agent, Val at the end, Isaiah Bradley, Sam and Bucky's relationship throughout the whole show, all of it was great. The only parts that sucked were Carly as the villain, right? As the Flag Smasher. I didn't feel like that worked out. The constant shoving down your throat of like politics and all that stuff. The final Captain America speech when Sam Wilson became Captain America, and he was like, "You need to do better, senators." but didn't give a single way or suggestion or anything as to how they could do better. And then the Sharon power broker twist. I don't know if I already said that, but all those I feel like were what brought the show down. And then if Trevor does show up in Shang-Chi, that can confirm that the one-shots are canon. Yeah, exactly. WandaVision B. You think so? I'd say WandaVision A, because I don't think it was as bad as Black Widow. Or not as bad, but I feel like it was better than Black Widow and the Falcon and the Winter Soldier. We weren't supposed to see Blue Marvel or Reed Richards. Yeah, I know, but like, it kind of, you know, they kind of hint at it when they say like astrophysicist. And like the connection that Monica Rambeau has to Blue Marvel in the comics with them dating, with Blue Marvel also being one of the only black superheroes from the past that was, you know, abused and mistreated by the government. And then also Reed Richards, we know he's coming in the Fantastic Four movie. The new black suit that allows Spider-Man to travel the multiverse is so cool. I hope he will keep it. Yeah, that suit and the integrated suit are actually amazing. And I know that people don't like Spider-Man being, you know, so close and being mentored by Iron Man, and now obviously in Far From Home, he kind of got mentored by Mysterio at the beginning, and then now it seems like it's going to be Doctor Strange and maybe Tobey and Andrew Spider-Man. But I feel like at least in this movie it kind of works, right? WandaVision B. I'm gonna leave it an A for now because it wasn't on the level of Black Widow or the Falcon and the Winter Soldier. Sorry for not following your content for a while. I've been busy. Don't worry about it. You don't have to apologize for that, guys. If you're able to watch my videos, that's fine. If you're able to come to the streams or, you know, participate in the polls and stuff, that's perfectly fine. Thank you. But if not, don't worry about it. You don't have to apologize for that. Falcon and the Winter Soldier was meh. I liked it least out of the show so far. Yeah, I agree. It was better than the Titans DC show. Really? I haven't watched that show, but I've heard really good things about it, and I know that a lot of people are excited for season 3. With Red Hood, Jason Todd coming back, or being introduced, his whole story. Loki S for Loki. Yeah, honestly, when compared to the shows, right? WandaVision A, Falcon and the Winter Soldier B, and I think Loki has to go on S. Especially if you consider the last 3 episodes. Episode 4, 5, and 6 were probably the best out of any Disney Plus show that we've gotten so far. The amount of Easter eggs in episodes 4 and 5, and then the whole Jonathan Majors Kang exposition dump in episode 6, opening up the multiverse, I think that just brings it up. And episode 1 and 2 were good as well. There wasn't really any bad episode in Loki, unless you count episode 3, because that one really was just useless. They started on the planet on Lamentus 1, and they ended the episode on Lamentus 1. Like, nothing changed, nothing happened. The characters didn't really grow or do anything. It kind of felt like an anime filler episode halfway through a 6-episode show. And I feel like if they cut that out and maybe made it 5 episodes, or made the episodes longer or something, they could have fixed the pacing in the show quite a bit. I feel WandaVision was Marvel just trolling us. They knew everyone would be looking for clues, etc., and we expected too much. Thought the show was decent. Yeah, I agree, but like they keep doing that as well. Like they did it with WandaVision. They did it to a lesser extent with the Falcon and the Winter Soldier, but they still did it, and they did it so much with Loki. Like so many fans were gonna be incredibly upset if Kang didn't appear. I think Loki went to a branched off timeline that was created when Sylvie killed He Who Remains. Yeah, exactly. At the very end, if you remember, in our TVA, there were 3 statues for each of the timekeepers, right? Vorth, Anth, and whatever the heck the other one is. I always forget. And then at the very end, when Loki gets transported to the TVA, it was an alternate version of the TVA because they had the King statue. And they've explained it before in the MCU, especially in Endgame. For example, when Thor went back in time and talked to his mother, and he told her that he was from the future, and also Rhodey was like, why can't we just go back in time and, you know, kill Thanos as a baby? It's because it doesn't affect their current timeline, right? It just creates an alternate branch. So yeah, that's what I would assume happened. Because Sylvie killing He Who Remains wouldn't affect the MCU. Like, it wouldn't make Mobius and B-15 forget who Loki was and change the statue to Kang. So it's clearly an alternate version of the TVA. Loki was brilliant, kind of unique to see to anything we've seen so far in the MCU. Yeah. And honestly, like WandaVision and Loki were like completely different from anything else. The Falcon and the Winter Soldier was similar to like Winter Soldier and Civil War, but I feel like compared to those two, it was the weakest one. Loki is definitely not S. Move all these shows down a tier or two, then it'll be accurate. But I don't know. I don't feel like the Falcon and the Winter Soldier deserves to be in C. All right, maybe I'll do this, right? WandaVision and Loki in A. Because again, I feel like WandaVision was just better than the Falcon and the Winter Soldier. I don't know. I don't feel like it goes in B. Will Ant-Man 3 be the second time we see Jonathan Majors, Kang the Conqueror? Yes and no. Technically, yes. But in the MCU, he was like a combination of He Who Remains, and Immortus, and he died. So yeah, in Ant-Man 3, we'll see like the actual Kang, but like, you know, in the comics, there's like tons of variants. There's Ramatut, there's Scarlet Centurion, there's Kid Immortus, there's Iron Lad. So yeah, we're just seeing different versions. To be honest, I never expected to see Kang after WandaVision and the Falcon and the Winter Soldier. Yeah, I feel like it did feel like a little too early, but I'm glad that it happened, right? Like I felt like, unfortunately, I felt like we weren't gonna see him until Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania. But yeah, I feel like it fit in the show. Do you think they started filming Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania? I think they have. I think they started a while ago, actually. I definitely know that Evangeline Lilly, who plays the Wasp, was at least training for the movie. And I think that they have started. Agreed. Falcon and the Winter Soldier was very political. WandaVision and Loki were better than... Yeah. You can't tell me that WandaVision and Loki were better than Iron Man. Okay, yeah, but then I'd have to move Black Widow down to C. I'd have to move the Falcon and the Winter Soldier down to C as well, and then WandaVision and Loki to B. Or leave Loki in A. And I don't feel like the Falcon and the Winter Soldier and Black Widow were worse than Thor, like, or worse than any of these movies. And on the same tier as Doctor Strange. Yeah, okay, maybe. We'll leave it here for now. Loki A, WandaVision B, and the Falcon and the Winter Soldier C. Yeah, I guess. Up next is what if Shang-Chi, Miss Marvel, The Eternals, Hawkeye, and Spider-Man No Way Home. Yeah. Yeah, and what if comes in less than a month? It comes on August 11th. Sounds a lot more accurate that way. Okay, fine, you win. After that, Instagram teaser on Hugh Jackman's Instagram. Do you think he'll return as Wolverine in Multiverse of Madness? Honestly, like I don't want to always be so pessimistic, but no, I don't think he'll return. Like, all he did was post a picture of him and Kevin Feige together. And Hugh Jackman and Kevin Feige have been friends since Wolverine all the way back in 2000. Like when Hugh Jackman was doing Wolverine, and Kevin Feige, before starting the MCU, he was like an assistant on the X-Men movies. And he actually, like, in his office had a bunch of comic books, right? And at the time, whoever was directing, I forget, he was like, he didn't want any comic books on the set, and he didn't want any of the actors to read the comic books, because he didn't, like, at that time, they didn't want the movies to be similar to the comics, right? They wanted them to be more grounded and like closer to the real world. But Kevin Feige like snuck in the Wolverine comics for Hugh Jackman to read. So I feel like that picture really just had like their connection. They're friends. They've been longtime friends. And then the picture that he uploaded from Boss Logic of just the Wolverine claws, I don't think that has anything to do either, because Boss Logic has been hired by Marvel to make their actual art. Like he made Daredevil art before, and he made the Wolverine art, and so I just feel like he was like kind of like reposting it. I don't actually think that it means anything. He'll appear. However, there obviously is a possibility that Hugh Jackman could appear in Multiverse of Madness as a small cameo. I like Thor: The Dark World. Yes, it's not the greatest. A lot of stuff happened in the movie. Thor's mom dying, etc. But overall, it wasn't the greatest. Yeah. Also, that like, again, like with any movie, right? You could find great parts about it. Like Black Widow, it might not be my favorite, but like the whole family, Red Guardian, Melina, Yelena, was all great. Their connection was great. And even in Thor: The Dark World, there was obviously Natalie Portman. Um, there was Thor's mom, like Frigga was a great character. And then just everything with Loki, anything that Loki is in, Tom Hiddleston's Loki is in, is just great, right? He had like the where we fake cutting off his arm and then like regrew it back, and he pretended to betray Thor. Why was Hugh Jackman training before they started filming Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness? I don't know. I would say maybe for a different movie, but I'm not sure. I know I talked about it before about him training. I don't think it was as intense as he would have trained for Wolverine. Like, obviously he's older now. Maybe they could have like an old man Logan like appearance or something, so that way he wouldn't have to train as hard. But I honestly, I don't know. It could go either way, honestly. He could appear, have a small cameo. He could appear and like rejoin the MCU and be Wolverine for the next 10, 15, 20 years. Or it could just, you know, be him teasing and messing with fans. Not saying you should redo the whole tier list, but I feel like there need to be more tiers. These are way too broad. Yeah, maybe when we get back, if you guys want, we can redo it. That way, What If will have come out, and we can include that one. Yeah, I mean, we can redo it if you guys want, but I feel like we've spent an hour and 20 minutes on this tier list alone. Thor: The Dark World was alright. It also had the Reality Stone, so that's something. Yeah, I was always confused about that, like the ether and how it got into Natalie Portman. But then it turns out that it's just a stone. It's kind of a little confusing. Normally Taskmaster is a guy, isn't he? Yeah, in the comics, Taskmaster is Tony Masters. He's just a normal human with photoreflexive memory, which allows him to copy any move that he sees. And for Black Widow, they changed it to be Antonia Dreykov, and have a chip that allows her to copy moves. So yeah, it was a slight change. I think that Thor: The Dark World suffered because of the villain changed the Dark Elves, and it possibly would have been a lot better. Yeah, I honestly, I don't know about the villains, right? I feel like the villains could have worked. I think it was just the writing and like the execution. Because Malekith and the other guy, I forget his name, but the big guy that was like his second in command, they were fine. They could have been great villains. Like the whole dark elf invasion onto Earth, with like the realms lining up, and that could have worked. I'm down for a second tier list when you get back. Yeah, and maybe when I get back, I'll make my own, because this is just one that I found. But we can even include everything that's coming. Secret Invasion, all the movies in 2022, 2023, all the shows. And then we can rank those as well. You should do a character tier list at some point too. Yeah. Yeah, definitely when I come back, we can do some other stuff. I hope Tony Masters comes to the MCU in the future. Yeah, I agree. That'd probably be the only way that they can salvage the character. Let's talk about possible No Way Home cameos. Okay. So Spider-Man No Way Home is obviously going to be the main cast, right? Doctor Strange is going to appear. I would assume that obviously Wong will appear because we've seen him in the Legos. It's going to be Spider-Man, Ned, MJ at the Sanctum Sanctorum. As for the cameos, we'll most likely see, right? Like at this point, it's all but confirmed that we'll see Charlie Cox as Matt Murdock. Whether he suits up or not is unknown, but I'd say it's pretty unlikely. We're also going to see Andrew Garfield and Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man. And then the Sinister Six. There's going to be the Scorpion. I feel like he's going to play a small role, at least in the mini boss and the mini villain in the beginning of the movie. Maybe what causes Spider-Man to go on the run, because you know he attacks him and Aunt May at their apartment. And there was a plot leak that said that he attacked them at their apartment and like it exploded or something. He fell out and he broke his back. And so that could be why we've seen like the mech that he wears, the Scorpion mech. Then for the villains, we have Alfred Molina's Dr. Octopus, Reza Fahn's Lizard, Paul Giamatti's Rhino, Jamie Foxx's Electro, Thomas Hayden Church's Sandman, and Willem Dafoe's Green Goblin are said to be the main 10 villains appearing in the movie. And other than that, I don't think that anyone else will appear. I don't think that we'll see any other versions of like Spider-Man. Maybe Spider-Gwen if Emma Stone returns, but I don't think that's very likely since she was pregnant. Maybe MJ will appear. I forget the actress's name that played her in the trilogy with Tobey Maguire. So I feel like those are like the main characters. I don't think anyone else will appear. Maybe we see Hobgoblin if Ned, like, I don't know, maybe Ned's friend or family member dies and he becomes a Hobgoblin. But other than that, yeah, I think that's it. All right. You're right. If it was written differently, it would be a much better movie. Yeah. Is She-Hulk in No Way Home as well? Gotta go. It's been fun. All right. Thanks, Nate. Thanks, Nate, for coming. See you guys when I get back. And yeah, I already have all the videos done, so you guys will have videos for the whole time that I'm gone. So yeah, thanks for coming, guys. Is She-Hulk in No Way Home? I think originally she was supposed to appear and be Peter's lawyer. But I think they switched it out, and now it's gonna be Matt Murdock. So I don't think that She-Hulk will appear unless she's like against him, right? Like Matt Murdock is like trying to prove his innocence, and She-Hulk is like kind of trying to prove that he's guilty. That could work. Maybe it sets up their connection for She-Hulk, and then, you know, Matt Murdock can appear again in She-Hulk, or as a lawyer again, or as Daredevil. But I'm not sure if she's gonna appear. I'd say no. Can't wait for No Way Home. Yeah, they just have to release the trailer. Hopefully, by the end of this month. If not, then I'd say definitely in August, because I don't think they'll wait any longer. And once What If starts on the 11th, I don't think that they're gonna release the trailer until after it's finished. So if What If starts and they still haven't released a trailer, I'd say we're gonna have to wait till like September, which by that point is cutting it very close because the movie comes out in the middle of December. I heard they all had different suits. Yeah, I think most of the characters will have new upgraded suits. Spider-Man's definitely getting some new ones. We've already seen 2, and I believe that there's 4. One of them might be his upgraded suit from the end of Far From Home, but if not, he'll have 2 more suits that we haven't seen yet. And then all of the villains are supposed to be getting new suits as well. I know Jamie Foxx's Electro isn't going to be blue, and he's supposed to be like a kind of electrician thingy. He's going to have like a reflective vest. So unfortunately, we're still not getting the Electro with like the big yellow frill on his face, but it's going to be at least a little bit more comic accurate. And I know that like Doc Ock and the rest of them will have slightly different costumes. Do you think we'll see Tobey Spider-Man with a new suit? It's been 15 years after all. I assume so, if they want to sell toys. I don't think that after 15 years they'll give him the same suit. Right, because we're getting 4 suits for Spider-Man for Tom Holland, so that'll sell toys. And I would assume that maybe even if it's not like a big change, maybe they'll have like slightly different, maybe upgraded suits for No Way Home. Hobgoblin all day. Yeah, I think Hobgoblin would definitely be a good addition, but we already have the Sinister Six, most likely Scorpion, so that's already 7 villains. We have, Doctor Strange is going to appear, then we have 3 Spider-Men, so I feel like Hobgoblin might be a little bit too much. But maybe like a tease, maybe a cameo, maybe a post-credit scene. I think Hobgoblin, but not Ned, hopefully. Yeah, and that's another problem, right? Because Ned isn't Hobgoblin in the comics. I'm not even sure if Ned is an actual like comic character. I think he might. I'm probably wrong, but he might have been made brand new for Spider-Man No Way Home. For Spider-Man in the MCU. Anyways, yeah, there was rumors that the Green Goblin could kill like his grandmother or something, or his mother. And that could like cause him to go over the edge. But there's also been rumors that like Hobgoblin, that the Green Goblin kills both Ned and MJ. So you can never know with plot leaks. Kirsten Dunst played Sam Raimi Mary Jane. Yeah, that's her name. Yeah, so I think out of her and Emma Stone, most likely to return is Kirsten Dunst. Okay, cool. Matt Murdock, it's all good. Are you going and coming back, or is this the end of the stream? Are you talking to me? No, the stream will go on for like another 30 minutes probably. But I was talking about I'm going on vacation soon, so that's what I was talking about. So yeah, this is the last stream until like the middle of August, because that's when I come back. So it makes sense that Loki had to end, that Sylvie had to kill He Who Remains in order for the multiverse to branch off, in order for Spider-Man No Way Home and Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness to happen. Exactly. Yeah. And so again, like we thought that WandaVision, Spider-Man No Way Home would lead into Multiverse of Madness, and that most likely WandaVision, the Scarlet Witch with the Darkhold would be the reason why the multiverse opened and went into chaos, but actually it turns out that it was just Loki. So yeah. What about that Flash guy in No Way Home? He seems sus. Yeah. Especially when compared to like the Raimi and even Tasm versus of Flash. Like it's so different. Do you think Sam Raimi, Tobey Maguire, and Aunt May is still alive? Yes. Because I believe that the villains are taken from the exact moment when they died. So for example, Doc Ock will be taken from Spider-Man 2. And right, there's people talking about how that could possibly make Spider-Man 3 not canon, right? Because it technically never happened if this takes place immediately after. I'm not sure if that's exactly how they'll play it, because that would mean that Spider-Man 2 that's Spider-Man, The Amazing Spider-Man 2 wouldn't have taken place, right? Ow. Anyways, I don't think that's what's gonna happen. It's been 15 years, and especially in the Raimi-verse, she was very old. But I don't know. Yeah, they could play either way. But yeah, that version of Aunt May was definitely, I feel like, the most comic accurate one, especially when compared to like the MCU version. She's so much younger. Okay, vacation. Missed the beginning of the stream. Yeah, no, it's fine. Yeah. So I leave next week, and I'm going twice. So soon we're going. Next week we're going to Disney for a week, and then I'm coming back. I'll be back for a week, and then I'll leave again to go see some friends that I haven't seen since I graduated high school 2 years ago. So yeah, that's why I'm leaving. But yeah, I can't stream in between because I'm leaving like I think on Saturday, so I have to leave early that day. But yeah, again, I have videos for you guys for the whole time that I'll be gone, so there will be daily uploads. It unfortunately won't be the normal like news videos. It'll mainly be theories and stuff. But I didn't want to leave you guys with nothing, you know. Also, if Sylvie did not kill He Who Remains, we wouldn't get What If. Exactly, yeah, because of the multiverse. And actually, What If is really interesting, right? I've talked about it before, so most of you have probably heard. When What If was announced, right, 10 episodes, we thought that it was going to be a different story in each episode, right? For example, the first episode would be Peggy Carter becomes Captain Britain, and Steve Rogers becomes Iron Man in the Hydra Stomper. But it turns out, and then, right, the next episode would be like the post-apocalyptic Black Widow episode with Ultron becoming, with Vision becoming Ultron. And then there would be the Sakaar Iron Man episode, and then there would be the like zombie episode. But it turns out that one little change will affect everything. So all 10 episodes are actually connected. It's one big story. It's not like 10 different what if scenarios. It's just one big story. So Peggy Carter becomes Captain America, and that like becomes a snowball effect that eventually affects like it affects the future, right? Yondu steals T'Challa instead of Star-Lord, instead of Peter Quill. Then Iron Man doesn't get blown up by the bomb, right? For some reason, Killmonger is on a mission in the military, whatever, at that same place, and he saves Iron Man. Eventually, they end up on Sakaar, and he becomes the Grandmaster's champion. And it keeps on leading up. One thing affects the next until we get to the end where they're like the evil Avengers, the zombies, Shumagorath. So yeah, it's really, really interesting. Yeah, thanks, Tim. What Disney park? It's the one in Florida. So what is that? Disney World? I believe that reportedly it was confirmed that the lawyer role of She-Hulk was changed to Daredevil because Kevin Feige realized that Daredevil and Spider-Man have long history together. I mean, I don't think he realized with how big of a comic book fan Kevin Feige is. Right? Like, he definitely knew. It's not like he just found out. But yeah, I feel like it could have to do with multiple things. Maybe they wanted to include both of them. Maybe they would rather have Daredevil just to set him up in Spider-Man No Way Home for a future appearance, whether it be in Hawkeye or Moon Knight or She-Hulk or whatever. But yeah, I feel like the change to Daredevil was, one, to please fans, but also probably to set him up for something else. And it just makes sense overall to have Daredevil instead of She-Hulk be the lawyer. Good night, Austin. Thanks for coming. What If will be awesome. Yeah, I didn't. They were right to change the order of the Disney Plus shows as it seems to fit in with the new films coming out, etc. Yeah, I mean, to be honest, the order wasn't changed that much, right? All that changed was originally the Falcon and the Winter Soldier was supposed to come out first and then WandaVision, but they switched. And then WandaVision came out first and then the Falcon and the Winter Soldier, right? I think that's the switch that happened. And then also because Black Widow kept getting delayed so much, it ended up coming out after the Falcon and the Winter Soldier, but it was supposed to come out before, right? The first place that we saw Valentino Allegra de Fontaine was supposed to be in Black Widow, in the post-credit scene with Yelena, that sets up the Thunderbolts and obviously Yelena in Hawkeye. And then we were going to see her again in the Falcon and the Winter Soldier, recruiting John Walker as the U.S. agent. But they just flipped it. And so either way, it doesn't really like affect anything, right? We just saw her, out of order. But yeah, like it doesn't really affect anything story-wise. Also, for some reason, in What If, in one episode, or maybe in season 2, Thanos joins the Avenger. I wonder what causes that. If that was in the trailer, I completely missed that. But I know that Mad Titan Gamora was part of the Avengers, so maybe that's what you're talking about. And yeah, that'll be interesting to see, because I was led to believe that Mad Titan Gamora would have been chasing Killmonger and Iron Man on Sakaar. So if she's now joining the Avengers, like I wonder if the story will be the same. She'll be chasing them, but eventually she'll join them, or if she's just joining them from the beginning and she was never actually supposed to be a villain or anything. I love the streams; they're the best. I really appreciate all you guys coming, and I'm glad that you guys enjoy it. Kevin Feige definitely knows what he's doing. 100%. He's the biggest geek. Yeah, exactly. Whatever the order was, it just it fits nicely. Yeah, like especially now that they've both come out, like you can watch Black Widow first and the Falcon and the Winter Soldier, or the Falcon and the Winter Soldier and then Black Widow first. It doesn't really affect anything. So I think they did it great, especially with COVID and all the delays and everything. It just worked out perfectly. They say Hawkeye is dropping in November. Think it's true. It doesn't look great. If you're saying that Hawkeye doesn't look great, I'm not sure. We haven't even gotten a trailer, so I don't know. I don't like judging things until I see them, especially when it comes to the MCU. But yeah, I did hear, apparently, I covered it like a day or two ago. Frothy, one of the actors in the show, who's apparently playing the clown, who in the comics, that is how Hawkeye loses his hearing. So hopefully they'll do the same thing. In the comics, he stabs Hawkeye in the ear with an arrow, and that's how he loses his hearing. Hopefully they'll have something similar to in the MCU. But yeah, he said that the show was coming out in November. If the show comes out in November, that means that Miss Marvel has been delayed. Because What If is coming out weekly. It's starting on August 11th, and it's coming out 10 episodes every week. So that's at least 10 weeks. Assuming that there's no like breaks in between, which there shouldn't be. So 10 weeks, which I believe would be like the middle of October. Then you have the normal 2 to 3 week long break in between each show, like we've gotten between WandaVision to the Falcon and the Winter Soldier, Falcon and the Winter Soldier to Hawkeye, to Loki, and then now Loki to What If. We usually get a 2 to 3 week long break. With that break, it would already be November. They're not going to release Miss Marvel and Hawkeye at the same time, which means that if that's true, they move Miss Marvel back. It'll probably release sometime in December and end like in January, and then She-Hulk will probably start in like February. So yeah. Will you get Metroid Dread when it comes out soon? Is that the new 2D platform Metroid game? I don't know if it's that I'm not old enough or I just didn't grow up playing the games, but I don't think I've ever played a Metroid game. And I don't know. I think I'm waiting for Metroid Prime 4 more than a 2D game. It'll probably be good, but I don't think it's not one that I'm not that excited for. So yeah, it depends. Maybe I'll look at it and check it out when it comes out. Seeing Charlie Cox's Daredevil in Spider-Man No Way Home will easily open the doors for Vincent D'Onofrio's Kingpin to be in a future Tom Holland Spider-Man movie in the MCU. Yes. But also, Echo also connects to it. Echo is a character that's appearing in a Hawkeye, and it's already been confirmed that she's getting her own show. And apparently, Feige and like the director and everyone loved the actress who's playing Echo, Alako Cox, so much. Like they like how she portrayed the character in the show, that they like fast tracked the show. And now apparently the Echo show is coming out before like Secret Invasion and Ironheart and all those shows that were already confirmed to be coming in 2022. And in the comics, again, Echo connects to both Hawkeye and Daredevil. In the comics, Echo was the first character to go by the name Ronin. She was actually the first Ronin, and then she passed on the mantle to Hawkeye. In the MCU, they flipped it, and Hawkeye was the first Ronin, so maybe she'll become Ronin later in after the show or whatever. Maybe she'll even join the Thunderbolts or something. But also, she has a connection to the Kingpin. I believe, I'm not exactly sure what her story is, but I believe either the Kingpin sent her to kill Daredevil or something, or the Kingpin killed her father. And so she wants to like get revenge. So yes, both Charlie Cox's Daredevil, because obviously he was in the Daredevil show and had connection to Vincent D'Onofrio's Kingpin, but Echo also connects because, you know, she has a story tied deeply into the Kingpin. I do think that Marvel played the trailers the right way by not showing too much and throwing misdirects. It's funny trying to work out the plot and be wrong. Yeah, exactly. Like, I don't think we figured out almost anything from the trailers. And the thing is, like, if you've seen with like WandaVision, The Falcon and the Winter Soldier, Loki, and even Black Widow now, the amount of trailers that they've released, and it's kind of like each trailer, it's almost every day that they release a new trailer, and we get like a new glimpse or a new little peek. But it's not enough to like put what's happening in the show together. Like, if you look at this this poster, it was probably one of the first posters released. This poster right here, right? We see the timekeepers up here. We see Loki. We see Mobius with the stick. We see Sylvie, who at the time of this coming out, we had no idea that this was Sylvie. We see Renslayer B-15. We see Miss Bennett. And then here we see King Loki, who this was actually supposed to be a bigger role, but it got cut at the last second. And then if you look right back here, you see this little window, which is the window that Jonathan Majors' He Who Remains was sitting in front of, right? At the very end of time, in his mansion, whatever, this window was in the back. That was the background that we saw, if you will, in the final episode. And like just looking at this, you wouldn't have known. And then again, from all the trailers, like we saw, like each time we kept seeing a little bit more and more and more and more. But like the misdirects that they throw, for example, with Vote Loki, we expected Vote Loki to play a much bigger role, and he didn't appear to what, like episode 4, and he had like a 2-second role. They all just started fighting each other, and that was it. So yeah, they really like to like just throw everything at us, but like do it in a way where we have no clue what's going on. I can't wait to get a Nintendo Switch. I got $300 in the mail, and then I got $80 in the mail. That with the other $200, we'll get a Nintendo Switch. Nice. That's cool. Yeah, I've had a Switch since like it came out, and I barely play it. I just don't have time, and honestly, there's not too many new games out like all the other ones I've played. I'm excited for Mario has always been my favorite game, so I'm excited for the next new Mario game. Bowser's Fury, if you guys have played that was really good. So I'm excited to see what the next 3D Mario game will be like, and I'm also excited for Pokemon Legends Arceus. Those are the two games that I'm waiting for. 'Cause an open world Pokemon game has been something that I've always wished for. Will Fantastic Four show up in Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania? Hopefully. I don't know. I can't say 100%. It makes sense, right? The Quantum Realm City, the connection that they have to not only King, but to the Quantum Realm, time travel, all that stuff. And now that we saw Jonathan Majors in Loki, and we know that he's gonna appear in Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania, and the connection that he has being a descendant of Reed Richards, it makes sense for him to appear. And I'm not so hesitant anymore to say that it's possible, right? Because we did see Kang and Loki, thankfully. So yeah, I'd say that there probably is a very, very, very good chance of us seeing them, or at least them being teased. Like at the very least, just saying like the Fantastic Four opening a portal or something, time traveling, something in the Quantum Realm City, seeing them in a cage or something, locked up by Kang. I don't know. All I need to hear is Willem Dafoe's Green Goblin's laugh at the end of the No Way Home trailer. I would be so happy. Yes, but I feel like the No Way Home trailer will be one of the most like what's the right word? Ambiguous trailers, I guess. Like I don't think we're gonna see the Sinister Six. I don't think we're gonna see Willem Dafoe. I don't think we're gonna see Tobey Maguire or Andrew Garfield Spider-Man. I feel like the trailer is gonna be like very generic, just gonna be Spider-Man. Maybe show off a new suit or something. Maybe like talking with Doctor Strange, Ned, MJ in the Sanctum Sanctorum. But yeah, I don't think that they'll just put all their cards on the table at the first trailer. But maybe like the final trailer, or if they start releasing as many trailers as they have for like all the shows in Black Widow, right? Like I assume that this is what they're gonna do now, just release a ton of trailers like almost daily. If they start doing that, then yeah, well, it's very likely that we could see some Willem Dafoe, maybe a Green Goblin laugh, maybe a mask or something, in the trailer. Guys, I'll be right back. I'm gonna go to the bathroom for 2 seconds. All right, I'm back. Um, all right, let's see. Um, what's your plot pitch for No Way Home? I mean, I don't really have anything different. I'd say like just the Sinister Six appearing, Toby and Andrew teaming up with Tom Holland to wrangle them all up. I'd say the only two things that I would change, like if Kevin Feige asked me right now, what are two things that you've heard about Spider-Man No Way Home that you would change? I'd say give Scorpion a comic accurate costume instead of a giant mech, unless it fits the story, right? If he does fall, break his back, whatever, he's like paralyzed for some reason, and that's how they want to keep him in the MCU, then I guess that would be fine. Also, I would say give Paul Giamatti an actual Rhino costume, like a big old comic accurate like big guy in a Rhino costume. And then I would say, I don't know how, but I'd say change the story up slightly to where Tom Holland's not such an idiot. Like you can't tell me that Willem Dafoe says, "Oh, Doctor Strange wants to send us back to our timelines, and if we go back, we'll die." And then Spider-Man somehow fights and defeats the Sorcerer Supreme and is able to release six villains. So those are the only things that I would change, because that just doesn't make any sense to me. How's everyone doing? We're good. I just went to the bathroom. That's why I was gone for a little bit. What Marvel films is everyone looking forward to? Definitely the next one. I'm super excited for Shang-Chi. It just looks so good. And I really hope that with the 10 rings that they make them like each ring has an actual power and not how they look in the trailers where they all just look like they do the same thing. That would be disappointing. I would rather them all have their iconic powers from the comics, where each one does something different. But just seeing the Abomination return and fight and absolutely destroy Wong in the fight, seeing Razor Fist, and Death Dealer, and the Great Protector, the Dragon, all of that looks just amazing. So that's definitely the one that I'm most excited for. And then I would say Spider-Man No Way Home is my second most most anticipated movie, and then The Eternals. I don't think The Eternals will be bad or anything. I just feel like they're taking on too much with like 11 different characters, the Celestials, the Deviants, the Sinking of Atlantis, possibly a young Namor. So yeah, I'm not sure. I hope they'll be able to make it all work, but I feel like it might be a little bit too much. So many people are hyped for the Fantastic Four. I have two friends, one in New York, Matrix Lord 212 on YouTube, and NT-Trekker, who are obsessed with the Fantastic Four, and I gotta say, I don't get it. I don't know. I just feel like the Fantastic Four is such an iconic team, such an iconic group of characters. And obviously, right, we want all of them in the MCU, right? The Fantastic Four, the X-Men, the Inhumans, Squadron Supreme, Dark Avengers, Thunderbolts. It'd be amazing to have them all, because there's just so much things you can do with them. But also, at the same time, I know that everyone hopes that we'll get a good Fantastic Four movie set in the MCU. Yeah, that does sound silly. Yeah, it doesn't make any sense to me how Spider-Man can defeat the Sorcerer Supreme, even if Doctor Strange gives him some magic portal web thing. Shang-Chi, for sure. Shang-Chi looks amazing. Yeah. Loki versus Shang-Chi? Ooh. I think Shang-Chi wins, especially if he has his comic book powers. Because especially with the fight scenes that we've seen in Loki, they were all very, very, very underwhelming and not the best choreographed. Like especially in episode 3 where they're like walking around beating up the guards and like Loki stops the building from falling. That was all kind of like it didn't look great. How would they do Sandman and Electro and Rhino if Spider-Man 3? If Spider-Man 3 and the Amazing Spider-Man 2 are no longer canon because of the villain timeline thing? Yeah, I have no idea. Because Rhino appears at the end of TASM 2, right? And so does Electro as the entire villain through the Amazing Spider-Man 2. And then Sandman, Venom, Green Goblin, all that are the villains in Spider-Man 3. So yeah, it wouldn't make too much sense. But I don't know. Maybe they're all from different timelines. Maybe Doc Ock and Electro are from the actual like Raimi and TASM verses, and the rest are just like pulled from other pulled from the multiverse. Eternals, not too excited for that one, but hopefully it'll be good fun. Yeah. I feel like out of the 3 coming out this year, that's like at the bottom of the list. And to me, honestly, like, yes, the gender swapping and everything else does make me a tiny bit upset, but it's not that big of a deal. I feel like it's just too much that they're trying to take on. Celestials, Deviants, possibly a young Namor, thousands of years of Marvel history, the Sinking of Atlantis, and then 10 Eternals plus Black Knight, which makes it like 11 characters that we actually have to like get to know and care for. And like there was so much talking in Black Widow just to introduce 4 characters, an entire episode of Loki just to introduce Kang. So I feel like a 2-hour movie isn't going to be enough for 11 characters. I'm hyped for the Dark Avengers movie coming soon. That would be amazing. If we got a Dark Avengers movie, Dark Avengers versus the Squadron Supreme. And I assume that if Willem Dafoe stays in the MCU, or if they introduce the MCU's Green Goblin, then he'll obviously create the Dark Avengers, right? Especially now that Iron Man's gone, right? We have Iron Man gone. We're getting Armor Wars. So after that, Norman Osborn could take advantage of everything and start creating a new Dark Avengers, just like Valentina Allegra de Fontaine is creating the Thunderbolts. The post-credit scene from Black Widow sets up Hawkeye Disney Plus Disney Plus series. Yeah. Yelena is gonna go try to fight Hawkeye, and then they're most likely just gonna become friends because obviously Hawkeye tried to save her. And honestly, I feel like Yelena will most likely be the one that joins the Thunderbolts, but I could also see Hawkeye joining the Thunderbolts. Maybe even as Ronin, right? Especially since like Val sends Yelena after him. If they like become friends, or like he explains everything that's going on, he has to because he obviously didn't do anything wrong. Maybe Yelena will like decide she doesn't want to work for Valentina anymore, and so she'll go after Hawkeye. I think that could work pretty well. The Abomination versus Shang-Chi, I think Shang-Chi still wins. And hopefully we'll see it in the movie, right? Because he was next. If the Abomination wins, they'll probably put in the next person, which is Shang-Chi. I guess you're not interested in the Suicide Squad. No worries. Everything's gender swapped. It's too much these days. Did you ask about the Suicide Squad? I'm sorry, I missed it. I'm sorry about that. So I've said it before. When it comes to DC, I'm not like a super hardcore fan like I am with the MCU. I definitely love the characters in the universe, and I watch all the movies. But I'm more of a casual fan when it comes to DC. And with everything that James Gunn has done with the Guardians franchise, and the Suicide Squad being rated R, and especially that it has Polka Dot Man, one of my favorite DC characters, just because of how stupid he is, it will definitely be a good movie. So when it comes out, I'll probably watch it, unless it goes to HBO Max, because you know I'm already spending like almost $100 a month on streaming services, and I don't want to spend too much more. So, true, or maybe like they could have the villains before they died, and then current day Spider-Man, because maybe that creates a branch timeline that the whole plot is they have to fix it. Yeah, that can make sense. Guys, I didn't even notice the time, but it's 9:55, so I'll end the stream in like 10-15 minutes. So get your last comments in, and yeah, I'll start ending the stream soon. I wish Willem Dafoe will create the Dark Avengers and become Iron Patriot, but I hear that the MCU wants to cast their own Norman Osborn, a younger Norman Osborn. Yeah, and I feel like just like with Hugh Jackman, that would make the most sense, right? Having someone in the MCU that can play the character for the next 10, 15, 20 years, just like Iron Man did, just like Robert Downey Jr. did, Chris Evans, Chris Hemsworth has, right? We don't need like no offense to Giancarlo Esposito, right? He's a great actor, but we don't need a 60 or 70-year-old Magneto in the MCU because he can't physically play the role for however long we need it, right? So yes, while seeing Willem Dafoe return in Spider-Man No Way Home would be amazing, and super nostalgic, I do feel like in the MCU they should get a new actor to play a new version. You know, obviously that exists in the MCU. I asked a few times, it's all good. And Sam, I like DC and Marvel. I love the films, my favorite. I'm sorry I missed it. It's 3:54 a.m. here, UK time. Yeah, it's 10 p.m. here, Eastern time, so it's a little earlier. But yeah, I'm gonna start ending the stream soon. I usually end at about 10. I just didn't even see the time today. So if you guys have to go, then thanks for coming, and I'll see you guys when I get back in about 3 or 4 weeks for the next stream. All right, so yeah, guys, I think I'm gonna start ending the stream in about 5 more minutes. So any last comments that you guys have, I'll make sure to answer them. And if not, thanks for coming, and have a good night. It's been good chatting with all you guys. Yeah, thanks for coming. What about Pierce Brosnan as the new MCU Magneto? Give me a second to look him up because I'm pretty bad with names. Thanks for coming, guys. See you guys when I get back. And I hope you guys all enjoy the videos. Pierce Brosnan, he's 68 though. Like, sure, he looks like a great Magneto. But he's 68 years old, and just like Giancarlo Esposito, I feel like that's too old for the right, for a new character to be introduced into the MCU. Like, if he plays the character for 20 years, he's 88. And like no amount of CGI or de-aging will make him look like a young Magneto. So yeah, James Bond, yeah, he'd definitely be great as maybe a different character, maybe the one above all, or like a different older character, maybe Merlin, right? If you guys remember in Endgame, when Steve Rogers is staring at Peggy through her blinds like a creep, she talks in you can't really hear it, but you can read the subtitles, and she says she references Braddock, his first name, Captain Britain, anyways. She references Captain Britain. And so like having him play like Merlin or something, or maybe an alternate version of Doctor Strange that's much older, like, or maybe I don't know, the ancient one or something. There's definitely characters that a lot of actors could play, but I feel like Magneto, Professor X, Mr. Fantastic, Wolverine, Black Bolt, they all have to be a lot younger if they're going to stay in the MCU for 10, 15, 20 years without having to constantly recast them, right? Because that's a problem that we're having with Dave Bautista now. Dave Bautista is like 50 years old now, right? However old he is, 40, 50 years old. And he's tired, right? He's played the character since since Guardians of the Galaxy 1. And like, not only does he have to go through makeup for like 8 hours a day just to film, but he has to be in like super good shape. And that gets tiring after a while, of course. So I feel like when it comes to these characters, they should be a lot younger. I say max like 40. Like Chadwick Boseman, rest in peace, but he was 42 and he was a great Black Panther, right? Robert Downey Jr. is like in his early 50s. Mark Ruffalo is like 49. Paul Rudd, they're all a little bit older, right? They're not in their 20s or 30s. But yeah, they all make it work. Who do you say? Stuart BK as Professor X. He was good in the role. Stuart Bick? Is that who you're referring to? I'm not. I don't know who he is, unfortunately, but he seems a little younger, so maybe. I have one more theory. Let's hear it. You got a minute and a half. Hurry up. What a shame about Chadwick Boseman. Yeah, it's really unfortunate. And as much as people want them to recast Black Panther, it's a tough decision to make, right? And Marvel are obviously are gonna pick the decision that best benefits the MCU, whether or not it's what fans want. Whether it's recasting or using Killmonger or multiverse, or killing off the character, or passing off the mantle to Shuri. Do you think that they'll fix all the branches just by making all the branch timelines, the Amazing Spider-Man, Raimi, Fantastic Four, X-Men canon? Yes and no. I don't think that they'll they'll come out and say that they're canon. Right? Just look at the Netflix shows, right? And all the previous Disney shows, Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., Agent Carter. We have no idea if they're canon or not, right? Yes, there was the Peggy Carter appeared in the MCU, and so did Jarvis, but it's never been confirmed whether or not those are canon. And when it comes to the TASMverse and the Raimiverse and the Fantastic Four, X-Men, all those, I don't think that they'll ever say yes they're canon, but maybe they'll like hint at it existing in an alternate universe, an alternate timeline. So it's definitely possible. Patrick Stewart back as Professor X. Oh, he's old too, right? Isn't Patrick Stewart incredibly old? Yeah, for Patrick Stewart, no, I don't think he could return. I think he's too old. Because I've heard rumors about the ending being Tom and Andrew swinging in MCU New York together. Yeah. And I feel like maybe they'll, just like Deadpool, they'll probably like start taking characters here and there. Right, Deadpool obviously coming from that Fox's X-Men universe in Deadpool 3. He's gonna be the same character, not a different one. And so maybe Toby and Andrew as well. If Toby appears in Doctor Strange 2 and Andrew stays in the MCU. But yeah, I'm not sure they'll ever come out and confirm that they are canon, or not. All right, guys, thanks for coming. And I'll see you guys when I get back.